Today we are looking at area. So this table here has all the main area formulas that you are going to need to use. We're not going to do the circle in this exercise. We're going to have a whole separate exercise, especially for the circle, but the other ones we're going to look at today. Now, area is the amount of space inside a shape. So remember, perimeter was adding up the distance around a shape. Area is how much space is inside it. And the units for area are things like millimeters squared, centimeters squared, meters squared, kilometers squared, or this is a bit of an unusual one, HA, which stands for hectares. Now, you're not going to get a lot of questions that involve hectares, but hectares are 100 by 100 meters is a hectare. Usually you use this to measure land, or in other words, that is 10,000 meters squared if you need to do a conversion between hectares and meters squared. Okay, so let's quickly go through these formulas. A square, we're going to call the side of the square L, and the formula is A equals L squared. The rectangle, here it is. We're going to call, well, it says L and W on the diagram, but I usually use B and H. It doesn't matter if you use different letters, it's just those two measurements that need to be times together. So A equals BH, or base times height for a rectangle. Triangle is half of a rectangle, so it is half of BH. A trapezium has an interesting formula over here. It is H over 2. Now, H stands for the height between the two parallel sides. And the A and the B are the lengths of the parallel sides. And they go in the brackets. So that's the formula. A circle. A circle. Again, as I said, we're going to look at this one again next lesson. But its formula is pi r squared. Any formula involving circles is going to have pi in it. A parallelogram is base times height, which sounds a lot like the rectangle, but it has to be the perpendicular height, which means the one here at right angles, not the sloping height. Now, a sector, which is like a piece of pizza in our circle, this is a bit of a tricky formula, this one. It's whatever the angle is, which we call theta. Theta over 360, because it's 360 degrees around a circle, times by our area of a circle formula, which is pi r squared. Again, we're not going to do those ones today. We'll save that for the circles lesson. And the last one for today is the rhombus / kite. So this shape here is a rhombus, and this one here is a kite, but they have the same formula, and that is A equals half XY, where X and Y are the lengths of the diagonals. All right, so question time. We have a conversion diagram here. So you'll notice it looks very similar to the one that we had for length, but now everything is squared, okay, because it's area. Area is units squared. So it's easy to remember as long as you remember that. Okay, so convert the following measurements to the units given in the brackets. So 659 millimeters squared to centimeters squared. To go from millimeters squared here to centimeters squared over here, I follow this arrow, which means I have to do what it says here, which is divide by 10 squared. So I write next to this, I'm going to divide by 10 squared, okay? And in my calculator, I'm going to go 659. Don't put millimeters or any squared, anything there. They're just the units. I want to divide that by 10 squared. And that equals 6.59 centimeters squared. All right, let's try again. Next one goes from meters squared, and we want to go to centimeters. Follow the arrow to centimeters squared. I need to times by 100 squared. So it is the 4.25. I need to multiply that by 100 squared on my calculator. 4.25 times by 100. Oops, I forgot the squared. Go back. Squared. There we go, which is 42,500. Centimeters squared. Make sure you write the units down. And one more of these. I want to go from kilometers squared up here to meters squared. So follow the arrow. We're timesing by 1,000 squared. So put that under here. I want to times by 1,000 squared and put it in the calculator. So it's just the number 2.8 times by 1,000 squared. Big number. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. And don't forget the units. Alright, now we get on to area. So I need you to write the correct formula down first. So this shape is a triangle. You have that table with all the formulas on it. The formula for a triangle is A equals half BH. Now the base and the height are the two sides that are connected by a right angle. So it's going to be half. Now I like to put multiplication signs in when there's numbers in there. So half times 21 times by 19. Okay, 199.5, and these are centimeters squared when you do area. A rectangle, the area of a rectangle is A equals BH, the base times the height. So that's going to be 10 times by the height, which is 5. That is 50 centimeters squared. Remember the 3 lines of working out: formula, substitution, answer with units. Alright, C. This is a trapezium because we have these parallel sides here. Just one pair of parallel sides. So trapezium formula, it's a little bit of a complicated one. It's H over 2 bracket A plus B. The H is the perpendicular height between the two parallel ones. That's this 3. So it's 3 over 2, open bracket. The A and the B are the two parallel ones. It doesn't matter which one is which. So I'm just going to put 7 plus 11. So typing it in. So that is 27 meters squared. D. This is a parallelogram because you've got 2 pairs of parallel sides. The formula for a parallelogram is the same as a rectangle. It's BH, but it's just the perpendicular height, not the sloping one. Sometimes I'll try to trick you by giving you extra measurements that you don't need. So my base is 4.6 and my height is 2.4. Timesing those together is 11.04. Okay, E. This is a kite. So the formula for a kite is half XY, where X and Y are the diagonals. Okay, so going across here is one diagonal and across here is the other diagonal. So that is, one diagonal is 10 and the other diagonal is 25. And we put in the calculator. So that's 125 centimeters squared. F is a square. So the formula for a square is A equals L squared. L for the length. My length is 4, so it's 4 squared. In the calculator, 4 with a squared is equal to 16 centimeters squared. Okay, your turn.